good time of day, whenever it might be that you're watching this. My name is Steve.
And I am Ian.
And this is a very special series of Downbelow where I get Ian to talk about something outside of his comfort zone. It's not actually outside of his comfort zone, but for most of the series he's been doing most of the talking about mechanics design, and I've been handling a lot of the story things. Well, this time it's about to go backwards because he's got me talking about mechanics earlier, so this is my chance to get him talking about story. So, I have not prepared a list of things to throw at him for the start of this series, although I'll have a few things to throw to him as we go on. But we are going to begin by talking about
needs. This is what defines a character in Downbelow. You are playing this character and not any of the other various people in the world because you need something, and the world is not just sitting up and providing it to you. Now, this makes your Downbelow character different than most people in the world, because the median person in the world of Downbelow has their basic needs provided for. That's why it looks like a utopia.
Now, this is an important note. Your character might also have their basic needs provided, and to a large extent we assume, since we're focusing on the interesting parts of someone's life, that even your Downbelow character, who is deeply down below, living off the grid, and eating algae sucked from a pipe, has their basic needs met because Bob goes hungry and has to hunt rats again, does not often or always make for a compelling story.
Sometimes that might be part of your on-screen story, but there will be some assumptions even for your Downbelow characters in between other things. You'll be dealing with the interesting needs that you have. Now, these needs might involve basic hunger, but they probably involve something a little bit more, well, involved. Because while you can scrape together the basics of food and shelter fairly simply in the society we're portraying, people, we call them fallen between the cracks when something rather more involved has gone wrong.
Pretty much. Even for people who are a functioning part of the society, things go wrong. While medical expenses are basically covered, the after effects of those medical expenses still have impacts on your daily life. For instance, if you are using your work to supplement your basic needs and have to actually take a 6-month hiatus because of liver replacement surgery, during that 6 months, while you're not going to have to worry about keeping yourself fed, after that's up, your standard of living may find itself decreased because you have been replaced at that job, since there is still no shortage of people looking to work.
And some places have regulations preventing you from being replaced in this way, but others, even places which used to have such regulations before the implementation of basic needs standards for literally everyone, have repealed them because now they don't feel that they're necessary now that everyone has their basic needs automatically met by mandate.
And from a baseline level, they are in fact correct. There's no longer any ethical need to preserve the well-being of people who are temporarily laid off because their needs are being provided for.
So, what we're going to cover in this series on needs is we're going to start with some specific needs that make compelling characters, and we're then going to progress from having covered those needs into a more general treatment of what factors in the world create these trends and why these trends cause the kinds of characters that we've been talking about.
We may also spend a little time on different parts of the world than just Nuevo Paradiso, because Nuevo Paradiso, for all its idyllic desert island status, does not actually represent the median of the world, and there are interesting stories to be told elsewhere, too.
Nuevo Paradiso, basically, for our purposes, represents the most interesting crack because it is a very wide crack where you can have a multifaceted story told about people who, even if they are a little outside the norm for people who would fall out the bottom of society, end up in the cracks between different governing bodies.
And the divide between the haves and have-nots is starker when your basic needs are not necessarily being met.
So, we'll go into the first, shall we say, extraordinary need that can define a Downbelow character next time. Thanks for falling through the cracks with us for this introduction to our series on needs. And if you like what we're doing here, please follow us on YouTube and take a look at our Patreon page and see if you'd like to help us
support our needs.
Yeah, increase our standard of recording.